Part 69. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Ixie. Chapter 681. Chapter 681. Who was the man that night? Hands hidden under the table were tightly twisted together. All she could say was, I don't know who that man is. Then do you know what happened? Even if two people don't know each other, one of them should know the reason. Ms. Kai still shook her head. I don't know. This matter is ridiculous. If I knew, I would never let that child be born. Mrs. Yes spoke so eloquently that it was difficult to tell the truth from the lie for the first time. According to Mrs. Yes feelings for Yehantian at that time, it shouldn't be intentional cheating. It was an accident, as Madame Ye said, and Madame Ye would have taken protective measures afterwards. How could she allow a child who was not Yehantian's biological child to be born? But since Yezikin was born safely, it may prove that Madame Ye did not lie and that she was really unaware of what happened at the beginning. Mossy said the same thing. This time, I won't be able to figure out whose words are true and whose words are false. Mrs. Ye seized the opportunity and gave Ye Wei various words to make her promise not to reveal the secret. Ye Wei was always alert and did not fall into Madame Ye's trap. She suddenly thought, I want to find the original information about Mr. Chiao. If Madame Ye can give you what I want, then I will absolutely promise not to tell this secret. When she heard the only condition proposed by Ye, Mrs. Ye blinked twice quickly at the corners of her eyes. But she denied it. What information about Chiao's? I was not involved in the company's affairs at all, how could I know? You do not know? Have no idea? Well. Ye Wei said two unclear words before standing up, holding her handbag and taking steps, as if she was about to leave. Mrs. Ye quickly reached out her hand to stop her. Although I don't know what you are talking about, but what do you want to do? If you make it clear, maybe I will know something. Hearing this, Ye Wei took out a breath. She sat back down again, looking refreshed and without any worries. Looking at Mrs. Ye again, she was uneasy and looked sad. Ye Wei paused for a moment and then said bluntly, when there was a problem with Chiao's working capital, I just wanted to find the information to prove that my father was not greedy for profit. I just wanted to clear Chiao's name. If Mrs. Ye can help me do this, I will never tell anyone the secret of my identity. Mrs. Ye saw that she was sincere. Although she hesitated, she was also shaken. Mrs. Ye thought about it carefully, pressed her forehead with one hand, closed her eyes and sighed, I promise you. As everyone knows, with her promise, she fell into the only series of traps laid out in the night. First of all, she did want to clear up Chiao's name, but it was not just as simple as clearing up her name. She also wanted to sue Yehantian, a despicable villain, and make him pay for what happened in the first place. Secondly, she would never tell others the secret of her identity, but if Pei Yuchen or Mosi wanted Yezikin to recognize his ancestor and return to the clan, that would be something she could not control. On the surface, Ye Wei and Madame Ye have reached an agreement, but in fact they have their own plans in mind. Mrs. Ye is unwilling to be threatened by Ye Yi, because there are two kinds of things like this. She needs to be more vigilant and find out Yezikin's biological father from the clues around Ye Wei to see who his identity is. When necessary, in order to protect her son's status, she will make Ye Wei shut up forever. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Ixie. Chapter 682. Chapter 682. My baby is gentle and generous. After separating from Mrs. Ye Wei hurried back to the apartment. Before she had time to prepare dinner, Yezikin's car had already driven outside the door, and she called to ask her to pack up and go out. Ye Wei went out dressed like this, and saw Yezikin in a white shirt leaning against the car window. The gentle breeze blows on my face, coupled with the large leafy trees next to me, standing under the shade, I really feel like a handsome young man in ancient times. Boarding. Yezikin said a few words briefly and opened the car door for her. Ye Wei picked up the chain of his shoulder bag and got into the car through the door he opened. Then he asked, "Where are you going?" Yezikin, who had just sat in the driver's seat, turned around, reached out and pinched the bridge of her nose, and said with a smile, "I'll take you to play." Well. Ye Wei took his hand away, stared at him with her mouth open, and blinked, knowing that Yezikin was in a good mood today. "Why did you suddenly say where to take me? I have been dealing with company matters recently. I have little time in G City, and I can't accompany you when I return to S City. What if I don't work hard and make my baby angry and feel that he has been left out and angry?" "Humph, is your baby such a stingy person?" Yezikin raised his eyebrows and complimented her, "I was wrong. My baby is gentle and generous." But before Ye Wei had time to feel proud, he heard what Yezikin said next, "Since you are so considerate, there is no need for me to spend time coaxing people. Let's go home and rest." As soon as he finished speaking, Ye Wei's eyes widened even more. Seeing Yezikin retract his hand and move to open the door, Ye Wei quickly leaned forward and reached out to grab him. "Hey, hey, hey." She rolled her eyes and said, "That's not what I meant." Looking at Yezikin's eyes, she curled her lips and her eyes became pitiful. "I want to play, I can go anywhere." Yezikin chuckled and took off her hand. He warned, "Sit down and I'll take you there. They want to have fun, and they won't go too far in the afternoon. Their final destination is the night bar." As soon as Ye Wei got out of the car, he saw a car parked next to him, and the people there had just gotten out of the car. After taking a closer look, it turned out to be Gongkin Li. "Lu Li. Only." Gongkin Li rushed over and hugged her immediately. Ye Wei patted her on the back and was very happy to see her. After letting go, Ye Wei looked around a few times, curious, "Isn't Brother Nangong here?" Gongkin Li shook her head and said, "I don't know. I thought you would come together because in the past, Nangong Luo would usually pick up Gongkin Li if he wanted to go out for fun." Gongkin Li said, "Originally, he said he would come to pick me up, but I refused." "Why?" "Shh." Gongkin Li raised her index finger to her lips and made a silencing gesture, then turned her head and whispered in Ye Wei's ear, "Gu Jinsi will also come today, and I can't let him misunderstand what Luo and I have to do. Improper relationship. Gu Jinsi, ah." It turned out to be this reason. Ye Wei couldn't believe it, but he had to believe that Gongkin Li really fell in love with Gu Jinsi. She returned to China to take the domestic college entrance examination for Gu Jinsi. In order to supplement her knowledge, she had to spend more time and effort than a senior high school student. Gongkin Li patted her twice and said excitedly, "Coming, coming." "Who is coming?" End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 683. Chapter 683. I like him, so it's worth it. I remember that car belongs to Gu Jinsi. Gongkin Li was waiting for Gu Jinsi excitedly, but when she saw the people getting out of the car, the smile on her face changed instantly. "Why is it him?" He muttered a few words in a low voice, and only Gongkin Li and Ye who spoke could hear him. Ye Wei patted her on the back and said, "Brother Nangong is so kind and you are not happy to see him, then I will come over. Yes, only thing is to stand firm and unwavering in Nangong Luo." Seeing Ye Wei was about to leave, Gongkin Li quickly pulled her back. "Hey, don't leave." Seeing that Nangong Luo was about to come over, Gongkin Li and Ye Wei stood still at a distance. Just when they were about to say hello, another man got out of the car just now. It was Gu Jinsi who Gongkin Li was talking about. Gongkin Li saw Gu Jinsi at a glance, and seeing Nangong Luo walking towards them, Gongkin Li quickly stretched out her hand to stop him from moving forward. Don't move, this is the safe distance. If you get closer, others will misunderstand you. When Gongkin Li said this, he glanced in the direction of Gu Jinsi with some meaning. Anyone with a discerning eye knows what Gongkin Li means, and also knows that she deliberately said this to Gu Jinsi. The only knight that remained silent. Nangong Luo curled his lips speechlessly. If you don't come, you won't come. After saying this, he turned around and entered the bar by another route. Seeing Nangong Luo walk in without looking back, Gongkin Li's heartbeat seemed to have dropped by half a beat. She denied that she felt guilty at the moment. Thinking to myself, why am I guilty? I am innocent to begin with. Innocent, friendship. Yi, I will seize the opportunity to attack him, and you can cultivate a relationship with your brother Chen. Gongkin Li pushed Ye Wei to Yezikin, and the two sisters were happy. Gongkin Li sped up to catch up with Gu Jinsi, stretched out her hand to say hello, Dr. Gu, good afternoon and good evening. Gongkin Li greeted him lively, but Gu Jinsi didn't squint and didn't follow any gentlemanly etiquette. Gongkin Li ran 2 steps in front of him and waved in front of him, Dr. Gu, long time no see. Gu Jinsi paused slightly, Miss Gong's indirect amnesia? You took the medicine 3 days ago. Gongkin Li automatically ignored his previous words and held her cheek in her hands, full of joy. Wow, it turns out that Dr. Gu, you remember my affairs so clearly. I'm flattered and so happy. But Gu Jinsi broke the delicate atmosphere mercilessly. There is no need to show off your exaggerated acting skills. Gu Jinsi is recognized as cold and venomous, super invincible. Gongkin Li has a strong heart and is automatically immune to these words. She still has the courage to tease Gu Jinsi, look at your venomous tongue. You are single based on your strength. Only a strong and kind-hearted person like me can tolerate you. We are a perfect match. Gu Jinsi didn't want to talk or bother, and went straight to their health care. Gongkin Li had endless topics to talk about next to him. Gu Jinsi opened the door and went in. Just when Gongkin Li was about to walk in, she was pulled aside by Nangong Luo. Hey, are you interested? What did you say? You treat him like this and he never responds to you or even takes your thoughts into consideration. Is it worth it? Gongkin Li looked into his eyes when she turned around and answered seriously. I like him, so it's worth it? It hurts my heart, Li Yulai. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 684. Chapter 684. Don't disturb your brother and sister's love affair. Hearing Gongkin Li's words was so heartbreaking. Nangong Luo let go and said, go in. Hello? What's wrong with you? Gongkin Li looked at Nangong Luo's somewhat depressed look, which was completely different from the usually high-spirited young master Nangong. Nangong Luo waved his hand casually, what can I do? I'll just bluff you and you'll believe me. Let's go. The boss is treating us tonight, and we'll take the opportunity to kill him. Tisk, Nangong, you've been getting more and more naughty recently, you're really trying to scare me. Seeing that he had returned to his normal state, Gongkin Li really believed that he was joking with her. When they entered, Nangong Luo naturally found a place where 2 people could sit. However, when he subconsciously wanted to call Gongkin Li to come and sit, he saw that Gongkin Li was already standing next to Gu Jinsi. My heart felt like it was being weighed down by 1,000 pounds of stone, heavy. Nangong Luo swallowed back the shout he was about to blurt out. He sat there and took out his cell phone to hide his embarrassment. After a while, Gu Li, who had just finished school, also ran over with 2 books in his arms. When he was in high school, he had to go to school even on weekends, but he did not study late on Sundays. I have a problem that has been solved for centuries. Can any of the top students teach me? Gu Li looked around and saw that Yezikin had just peeled a small orange and fed it to Ye Wei's mouth. Gu Li twitched the corner of his mouth, pretending that the two people showing off their affection did not exist. Looking at the passionate Gongkinli sitting next to his eldest brother, Gu Li directly passed these two people in order to give his eldest brother a chance. Su Tangzi has been absent from their party for a long time, leaving Nangang Luo alone. Gu Li quickly took the notebook and went over to ask for advice. "Brother Luo, please teach me how to do the questions." When he saw it was Gu Li, Nangang Luo was quite willing and sat up straight. Looking at Gu Li next, Nangang Luo thought of his brother Gu Jinsi, and immediately leaned back and leaned on the back of the seat. "Don't ask me, I'm a bad student." "Nonsense, who doesn't know that brother Luo is a mathematical genius?" Nangang Luo's academic performance is indeed mediocre, but he is particularly sensitive to numbers and is a mathematical genius. "Gu Li, let me tell you, look at the boss, the only one, and your brother, which one is not a top student. Why are you holding me back? Can he meet his love rival's biological brother?" Gu Li touched his head and said straightforwardly, "Brother Luo, can't you see that they are all busy falling in love? I can't be the bad guy and good guy of the light bulb." Gu Li usually has a very high emotional intelligence, but he slips up at critical moments. When he said this, Nangang Luo became even more unhappy. "Yes, if you are not happy, then you are not happy." Gu Li was also her younger brother who she watched grow up, so Nangang Luo patiently explained the topic to him clearly. "Do you understand?" "Without." After Nangang Luo repeated it 3 times, Gu Li still answered no. Nangang Luo suddenly noticed that Gu Li glanced in the direction of Gu Jinsi and Gongkinli from time to time, and an idea came to his mind. Nangang Luo threw the book in his hand towards Gu Jinsi. Gu Jinsi raised his eyes and caught it steadily. "What's up?" Substitute. Tweet, green plum in hand, bamboo horse without worries. Li Yu met Mu Chi when she was 3 years old. She knew how to strike first at a young age. Fortunately, Mr. Zhu Ma was gentle and considerate, and Xiao Qingmei successfully embarked on the road of hooking up with him. When expressing her love, she never concealed her possessiveness. "You are mine, no one is allowed to care about you." When proposing, his affection was unquestionable. "I will give you the best love for the rest of my life. Nothing in the world is cheap. If you say we are together, I will contract for life." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 685. Chapter 685, Little Milk Dog and Little Wolf Dog. Gu Jinsi had the duty to teach his younger brother to study, but unexpectedly, Gongkinli started faster than him. "Brother Gu Li, let my sister teach you how to do the questions." Gongkinli, a high school senior, should have no problem teaching Gu Li, a high school freshman, but the difficulty lies in, mathematics is Gongkinli's Achilles heel. She was okay in other subjects, but she only passed math very rarely. Gongkinli was the first to get Gu Li's notebook, but when she saw the astronomical numbers on it, she instantly felt like circles were spinning in front of her eyes. Gongkinli looked to Nangang Luo for help. Nangang Luo turned a blind eye. Gongkinli curled her lips and glared at him hatefully. Since Gu Jinsi was nearby, she turned around and smiled at Gu Jinsi. She was also very gentle and approachable when facing Gu Li. "Brother Gu Li, the teacher has solved this kind of math problem many times in class. If you read more books and apply it to the company, you will remember it deeply by figuring out how to solve the problem on your own. You will not be able to solve this type of problem in the future. You." Gongkinli patted Gu Li on the shoulder to encourage him at the end. Nangang Luo's mouth trembled. This reason is not something she can express. Gu Li looked down at the math book in his hand and shrugged his shoulders. Actually, he wanted to tell Gongkinli that this was a question type that was only learned in the 2nd year of high school, and he was just studying it for fun at the moment. But in order for his brother to solve the single problem as soon as possible, Gu Li was very dignified and did not expose her. Instead, he took out his math textbook and flipped through it. He also praised Gonkin Lee, Sister Lee Yulai, you are so awesome. My brother likes smart people girl. As soon as these words came out, Gonkin Lee was so moved that she looked at Gu Li with two more hearts in her eyes. Nangong Luo, who was sitting alone next to him, gave him a cold look and said, that's a body type that was only learned in the second year of high school. According to the domestic curriculum, his teacher probably hasn't taught him that yet. Gu Li was exposed. Gonkin Li, brother, this is a good job of causing trouble. The conversation here is undercurrent. The other side. Sentimental, carefree, and cheerful. Ye Weiwei was lying in Yechenxi's arms, browsing the short video software on his phone, and suddenly raised his head and asked, brother, do you know what are the two most popular names for boyfriends on the internet right now? Yezikin answered as she expected, I don't know. Ha, Ye Weiwei sat up from his arms in an instant and reached out to poke his beautiful and flawless cheek, you really don't know, you caveman. Yezikin put his arm around her waist from behind to prevent her from falling off the sofa. This subtle movement is not deliberate, but a habit formed when he naturally wants to protect her. His intention was to listen carefully to every word Ye Weiwei said to her, even if it was a joke. He will also follow her thoughts and pretend not to know anything. You say. It's a little milk dog and a little wolf dog, brother, which one do you think you are? Ye Weiwei blinked and pushed his shoulder, just tell me. Yezikin put aside his head and said, it's a dog after all. Ha ha ha, seeing his natural evasive action, Ye Weiwei was instantly amused and laughed. You idiot, you are not a dog, brother, you are a wolf boyfriend. What would a wolf boyfriend do? Domineering, possessive and protective. While Ye Weiwei was concentrating on talking, Yezikin glanced at Len Yangzi, who had just walked over, and said to her, pour a glass of boiling water. It's like being a pampered child, isn't it? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 686. Chapter 686, Pamper You Like a Little Friend. As expected, Len Yangzi received a glass of boiling water and held the bottom of the glass with both hands. She didn't know where to put it when Yezikin didn't tell her to put it down. Yezikin patted Ye Weiwei's face and said, drink water. Ye Weiwei leaned forward, hugged Yezikin's neck tightly, and leaned her head on his shoulder like a baby, it's very hot now. Give me. Yezikin reached out with one hand to get the water glass. When his hand touched the bottom of the cup, Len Yangzi's hands dragged the cup without letting go, and even slightly rubbed against Yezikin's fingers. Unexpectedly, Ye Weiwei suddenly raised his hand, and a moment later, he knocked the cup in Len Yangzi's hand to the ground. Boiling water flowed from the overturned cup and soaked the carpet on the floor. Len Yangzi couldn't care less about the ambiguous touch between her fingers. She quickly knelt down to pick up the cup and apologized to Ye Weiwei. Miss Jiao, Master Ye, I'm sorry. It seemed that Len Yangzi was right about this matter. She still apologized without hesitation because she worked for wages. Yezikin grabbed Ye Weiwei's hand and said in a cold tone, why did you knock over the cup with your hand? I didn't mean it. Master Ye, don't blame Miss Jiao, I'm sorry that I didn't hold the cup steady and disturbed you. As soon as Len Yangzi finished speaking, Yezikin pointed his finger at her, there is no need for someone who can't even hold a water glass to stay in the night. Yezikin's merciless words made Len Yangzi suddenly at a loss. She wanted to use Ye Weiwei's words to play tricks on her, but she didn't think clearly about her identity and what qualifications she had. Yezikin's implicit message was to drive her away, but Len Yangzi dared to say anything else. Master Ye, it's all my fault, I still have to make money to support my grandma, so please don't drive me away. While Len Yangzi begged for mercy, Ye Weiwei's head was still resting on Yezikin's shoulder, staring diagonally forward with far-reaching eyes. Until Len Yangzi realized her vision and walked around Ye's only line of sight, she kept saying I'm sorry over and over again. Ye Weiwei released his hands from Yezikin's neck, knelt down on the sofa, and turned to look at Len Yangzi. Are you sorry for me? Why do you keep apologizing to me? Before Len Yangzi could come up with a reasonable answer, a smile suddenly appeared on Ye Weiwei's face, instantly resolving the tense atmosphere that had just solidified. I just made a little joke just because you were reluctant to let go. Just be more careful in the future, Ye Weiwei said as if casually, then waved to her, let's go out. The last three words Ye only spoke were like an amnesty order. Len Yangzi did not dare to stay for a moment longer. She thanked her twice and left the room. Nangong Luo, Gong Qinli, and others who were watching the whole process really wanted to raise their thumbs and shout 666. This operation was too sharp. Len Yangzi would definitely not dare to approach Yezikin when she saw him in the future. However, it was easy for Ye Wei to get rid of Len Yangzi, but it was difficult to escape from Yezikin's clutches. Yezikin insisted on admitting her mistake, but she didn't think she was wrong to be jealous. I did it on purpose and I don't admit my mistake. That's boiling water. Didn't you consider the consequences when you spilled it? It just needs cleaning at worst. I'll go down and clean the carpet now. Ye Weiwei actually started to take action while talking. When she was about to leave Yezikin, Yezikin quickly grabbed her wrist, spread her palm and slapped her with a snap. At that moment, the eyes of Gong Qinli and others gathered towards them. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 687. Chapter 687 Secret Love. While everyone is waiting to see how Yezikin will teach Ye Wei a lesson, Yezikin only asked, what should I do if I burn my hands? All were killed in battle. Our ears are all pricked up and we are listening carefully. Are you going to let us listen to this? Have you eaten your rice? A public display of affection in front of so many people. Simply a devil. There was no quarrel between the two of them at all, they just showed off their affection in different ways. For example, Yezikin knew that Ye Wei did it on purpose, but he didn't care about her little thoughts. He was just worried about whether she would be accidentally hurt. The only reason why Ye Wei dared to pick things up and did so obviously was because Yezikin used him to be bold. There is no limit to how affectionate these two people can show off, right? Tisk tisk tisk. Gong Qinli watched the wonderful performance and shook her head. She secretly glanced at Gu Jinsi, who was sitting next to him as steady as a rock, and covered her mouth and snickered. A man with good looks is simply synonymous with 360 degrees of no blind spots. I have really good taste. Such a handsome and mature man who gives people a sense of security is simply the best boyfriend in my mind. The above sentence is the most real thought in Gong Qinli's heart at the moment. She is addicted to male and cannot extricate herself. Gu Li moved to Gong Qinli's side and told her the strategy. My brother likes to communicate with smart people. Sister Li Yulai, you must show your smart side. Gong Qinli nodded seriously and kept these words in mind. Nangong Luo really couldn't stand it. Clapping his hands together a few times with Papa Papa, attracting all the eyes from around him. Nangong Luo stood up tall, looked around, and asked, isn't it a party today? Are you all patronizing yourself? Gong Qinli answered smoothly, if you are not convinced, find a girlfriend to play with. You want me to find a girlfriend? Well. Suddenly being asked a rhetorical question, and seeing Nangong Luo's serious expression, Gong Qinli felt inexplicably guilty. Looking left and right, there was only Gu Li. Gong Qinli quickly pushed him and said, Xiao Litzi, hurry up and accompany your brother Luo, so that he will not be lonely and miserable. Xiao Litzi is their pet name for Gu Li. It's your order, Gu Li gave her a naughty salute for 2 seconds, then went over to play Nangong Luo's game. Gu Li now regards Gong Qinli as his first choice as sister-in-law and listens to everything she says. Gong Qinli felt comforted and decided to give Gu Li a big gift as a reward and win people's hearts after returning. Nangong Luo was so angry that he simply made a suggestion in front of everyone. It's rare for everyone to have time to get together at night. We haven't played face-to-face for a long time. How about playing 2 games today? Gu Li raised his hand first. Okay. He looked excited. Ye Wei grabbed Yezikin's hand and raised it for him. Here also agrees. Yezikin shook his head helplessly and did not reject her words. Bingshan Guchensi remained silent, but raised his hand to express his agreement. But there are only 4 of us now. Their regular team is missing 2 people. First, Mi Kexing, who likes to dress up as a woman, is still traveling around the world. It is said that he is currently working for a living somewhere in Australia. Second, Su Tangzi is missing. The only people present were Ye Wei and Gong Qinli. Gong Qinli raised her hand first as soon as she saw Guchensi agreed. Me, I'll do it. Then I. Ye Wei wanted to say that he was watching the battle. Yezikin suddenly interrupted her. You come to live broadcast, use my account. In the next chapter, Brother Chen is going to reveal the secret mark of Bell Cat to his fans. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 688. Chapter 688 Mingziu. Use your account to start a live broadcast. Are your fans going to explode? Yezikin wants to give his account to Ye Wei to broadcast the game. What is the concept? You should know that Mars, a game anchor in the competitive circle, has millions of fans and is mysterious. Others only know that he is male and has a nice voice, and there is very little other information. In recent years, because everyone has gone their own way, they can't get together to play black games, and Yezikin can't hold a live broadcast to explain the game. He has been waiting for 1,000 years to start a live broadcast. And this time I have to lend it to Ye Wei. Everyone else was shocked. However, the person involved brought Ye Wei into the live broadcast room very calmly and logged into his account. After adjusting all the equipment and lenses, we just need to get started. Brother, I have never broadcast live, aren't you afraid that I will embarrass you? Ye Wei was a little panicked. It's not that she is timid or afraid to face such a scene, but because she knows that once she broadcasts live on the microphone, she will announce her relationship with millions of people. Even if those people don't know their true identity, they still have an indescribable feeling. Fortunately, Yezikin is an extremely patient man towards her. No matter what problems Ye Wei has, he will patiently help her solve them. I started the live broadcast just to record it. As long as you record the video, everything else is fine. This kind of thing where you don't show your face and just speak out is actually not stressful. As soon as the live broadcast started, there was no sound or picture, and magical subtitles such as in this lifetime series, Mars Super God appeared at the bottom of the screen. Ye is the only person who has seen a big scene, but has never personally experienced such a grand virtual screen communication. She took a deep breath to suppress her rapidly beating heart. Yezikin and others have formed a team and entered the game interface and are reading the message. There are already people on the screen in the live broadcast room asking why there is no sound. Yezikin's live broadcast originally only made sounds but did not show his face. If he didn't speak, he wouldn't even have the benefit of his voice. Fans became restless. The game reading is over, enter the preparation interface. Ye Wei took over the camera and turned on the microphone at the same time. When she opened her mouth, she said hello politely. There was silence for 10 seconds. Those people had a tacit understanding as if they had made an appointment. There were no new comments or comments within 10 seconds, but after 10 seconds, The fans exploded. The male anchor they longed for became a woman's voice. Although the sound was clear and sweet and as beautiful as the cry of an oriole, they were still shocked. Did the male idol forget to turn on the voice changer, or did he research a new voice changer, or was his account hacked? I didn't expect that fans would be so imaginative. Their implication is: 1. Yezikin used to turn on the voice changer during live broadcasts, but he forgot to do so today, thus revealing his identity as a woman. 2. Yezikin turned on a voice changer on a whim, turning the drunken male voice into a female voice. 3. The account has been hacked. There were also some strange comments, but no one asked her if she was Yezikin's family. Maybe it's because those people are unwilling to face the fact that their male gods have been taken away. Ye opened the microphone to tell everyone that Mars will not live broadcast today, but directly participate in the game. She did not explain her identity from beginning to end, causing fans to be excited about Yezikin's victory or defeat in the game, while at the same time they speculated about Ye's identity. These unanswered questions have caused the online number of fans to skyrocket. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 689. Chapter 689, Turn on the Wrong Camera. At the end, I really couldn't hold it any longer. Because 9 out of 10 people started to question her relationship with Yezikin. At the end of the game, they are sure to win. The live broadcast room was not closed yet, and Yezikin pushed the door open and entered. He didn't know the specific situation here yet. He sat next to Yewei and controlled the mouse to read the barrage and message records. He lowered his head and whispered in Yewei's ear, "How do you feel? Are you nervous?" Although Yezikin lowered his volume and spoke in Yewei's ear, Yewei's other ear still had a headset, and the sound from close range was transmitted through the headset. Those crazy fans instantly recognized that the voice belonged to Yezikin. So the person who explained the game to us just now was really a girl. Kakyagami spoke to her so gently. What's going on? What's their relationship? Today's game live broadcast is just a daily record of playing games with friends. Here, I want to thank my. Yezikin rarely said a long sentence as an explanation. He deliberately delayed it, arousing everyone's expectations. Including Night only. Yewei looked at him with wide eyes, waiting to hear how he would explain her identity. At this moment, Yezikin lowered his head and pecked her lips lightly, and said to the microphone, "Thank you, my cute little girlfriend. It's boiling." Exploded. It's been a long time since Mars started a live broadcast, and as soon as he went live, he announced that he was divorced. Fortunately, he is not a star and does not have any star effect. When fans knew that Mars was in love, many people couldn't accept it, but this large number of people actually only accounted for a small number of the scene. In the blink of an eye, blessings for many days appeared on the screen. Yewei never thought that his first live broadcast would be so easily accepted. In addition to blessing 99, some people praised her voice below and her commentary was very fast when watching the game screen. Yewei was definitely not at peace in her heart. She quickly pulled out her headset and whispered in Yezikin's ear, "Are we announcing it to the public? So many people have witnessed it?" Gong Qinli suddenly opened the door and came in. She immediately covered her eyes when she saw the two people's face-to-face intimacy. "Oh, I'm so sorry to disturb you." Hearing Gong Qinli's voice, Yewei quickly pressed the off-mic button. Gong Qinli saw the two separated, walked over, put one hand on the side and patted the table. "You are the only one who can do it. I heard about the live broadcast just now, it was really great." Gong Qinli was full of praise for her. Even though she knew that this was her friend deliberately teasing her, she was still very happy. After saying a few words happily, she looked down and saw the picture on the screen. When did she turn on the camera? When did you open the camera? She looked down, and a slender arm crossed in front of her and pressed down the camera next to the computer. By the way, the live broadcast has also been turned off. I didn't turn on the camera. Ye Weiwei was very innocent. Yezikin's eyes moved forward from her, and finally landed on Gong Qinli's hand. Ye Weiwei looked over and found that next to Gong Qinli's 5 fingers on the table was the camera's switch button. Oh shit, I didn't mean it. Gong Qinli knew something was wrong and stepped back slowly. Ye Weiwei scrolled through the video and found that only one of her hands was in the camera's frame. Probably because she and Yezikin both stood up just now, the camera didn't capture their faces. But the bell on her hand was exposed. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 690. Chapter 690. The Secret of That Night. The only bell in the night is a hot search topic. It was pushed up by Yezikin's fans. The mysterious girlfriend took over the live broadcast on behalf of the male idol, and they formed several groups to watch. Let's just watch. The main reason is that they rely on bracelets and bells to find people, and those who watch the show want to get involved. Because of the matter of finding someone, they really want to follow the clues and see the true face of Lushan behind the live broadcast. However, the bell on Yes Only bracelet is not eye-catching, but it is not ordinary either. There are many people who wear bells as jewelry, but they usually wear them occasionally or on specific occasions. There are very few people like Ye Weiwei who have carried it with them from childhood to adulthood. Because the bell has a sound, it is very inconvenient for some people. However, although the only bell in the night can also produce a crisp silver ringtone, its sound really does not make people feel irritated. It can be said that the bell bracelet is also the only big symbol of night. Yezikin directly issued a statement on his Weibo, expressing his disapproval of everyone's inquiring about affecting their real lives. And at the end, he recorded a short video without showing his face and included a few words, "I hope you won't disturb our normal life." The last note is really catchy. Being coaxed by such a voice, I was so addicted to it that I didn't even bother to refute. Ye Weiwei still doesn't understand the special meaning of this. After she went to school, the farce ended like this. Yes Only problem is temporarily solved. Yezikin is very comfortable at work. Yehantian finally got rid of the shadow caused by Suhui's incident. But, Yes troubles have just begun. Ye was alone in Yejia's villa, sitting by the bed and looking through Yechinexai's childhood photo album, lost in thought. Thinking back to the time when she mustered up the courage to confess to the man she liked and they got together smoothly, and even got married together with her best friend. She thought her happy life would continue, but she was treated coldly and violently by her husband as soon as she got married. At that time, she was angry and sad, and she just wanted to get drunk to relieve her worries. Because of her status, she did not dare to go to famous hotels, so she could only go to smaller bars. She just wanted to relax a little and get drunk to relieve her worries, but she didn't expect to have after drinking and have a relationship with an unknown man. She woke up in the middle of the night and found herself lying naked next to a man. The light at that time was slightly warm, and she couldn't see the strange man's face clearly, let alone his identity. She put on her clothes and was about to run away, but when she was about to open the door, she suddenly thought, it would be bad if that person wakes up and wants to pursue something. So she took the risk to make the messy bed, clothes, and shoes as natural as possible, and wrapped the man in a bathrobe. In short, she made everything look like he was the only one. That night, Ya escaped from the room. More than a month later, she was found to be pregnant. She also wondered for a moment whether it was an accident that night. But when she saw Yehantian treating her tenderly because he knew she was pregnant, she didn't care about anything. Later, when the child was born, others said that the child was somewhat similar to Yehantian. She didn't want to investigate whether it was the truth or someone else's words to flatter Yehantian. She only knew that the son brought her husband's love and favor. As Yezikin grew up, she completely forgot about the absurd night. When everyone praised Yezikin for his outstanding talent, Madame Ye never doubted his identity again. This accident continues to this day. But I didn't expect that I would be discovered. End of this chapter.